everyone. Welcome to our today's webinar about cost per use in CELUS with Excel. And without further ado, I welcome Kamcha, who is the expert on cost per use, and she will now show you everything she knows. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome all. Hello to today's session about cost per use in CELUS, cost per use in Excel. This is the simpler version of calculating cost per use. And I will now share my screen and start the presentation. Short introduction about me. My role in CELUS. My name is Kamila, and I have a background from finance with long-term interest in data analysis. I was data financial analyst, and then I was risk manager, and I was always focused on data analysis. And in August 2025, I started supporting customers of CELUS, and I was surprised to discover a very colorful and interesting landscape of e-resource usage statistics, the counter project, and much more. I like the data. And recently, I specialized in integration between CELUS and other tools via CELUS Data Hub. And I'm again amazed about the possibilities. And big thanks to our clients, which cooperated with us and gave me a lot of insights into how CPU is calculated and what are the real life examples of cost per use calculations. But will not use any data of our clients. I will use artificial data through the whole presentation. And now about the cost per use concept, just cost divided by use. We usually have the cost without problems. We have invoices, we have even price offers. So the quoting, this is no problem to get the cost, or should be. But what about the use? The use for the relevant e-resources, this is another matter because you have to have the relevant use, and this can be quite a challenge to get. And in CELUS, which is a great tool to help with the usage side of the cost per use equation, it's a cloud-based tool, so no local installation is needed. And it allows managing usage statistics in one place. There is no hassle of multiple spreadsheets, locations, and versions and worries like that. And it's designed to work with large data. And this is a buzzword, large data, but CELUS is what it's really about. And we start to feel it when we start to work with the large spreadsheets, which are stored in CELUS. We don't have to. CELUS makes the calculations for us, and this is the best option always. So how the data flows into CELUS. Counter data are collected automatically. Once the credentials are set, CELUS collects the data via the sushi service or counter API. And non-counter data, now we have something like 170 non-counter platforms enabled to be uploaded manually into CELUS. And when the data is in CELUS, it's all, you don't have to combine multiple spreadsheets and do things like that. But if you have the data in CELUS, you also want to use it. And how do you get it out? The first option is CELUS reporting. We will see that today. It's powerful and it's very flexible, and it allows to get a lot of variable reports fast for multiple platforms, which is great. Then sellers can make special reports like iPad, Scowl, Rebune for Spanish users. And then if you are not satisfied with these two options, you can also export data in counter format and work with pivot tables and something like that. This is also a possibility. And the newest possibility is CELUS Data Hub, which is a whole new universe how to expand the use of the data which are in CELUS. Because if you have the Data Hub enabled, you can use all your usage reports which you have in CELUS, and also tags are exported into CELUS Data Hub, which is a powerful database in ClickHouse and allows you to access the sellers' data or your data, business intelligence tools like Power BI, Tableau, or Metabase, or you can query the data directly and even expands your possibilities how to use the data once they are in Celus. And we will speak more about this possibility next week. So how can you calculate cost per use in CELUS and Data Hub? You can use the CELUS reporting, download the report in Excel, and calculate the cost per use there. It's simple, it's easy to set up. You will see it's a familiar interface. You don't have to train for it. Excel knows everyone, but it's a static snapshot. You once create a report, you can save it and create it one more time. But once you download the report, you have a static snapshot. And if your data change or if you want to change your setup, you will have to do it one more time. And you know the Excel risks. You can run into broken formulas or version confusion if you start to reuse your old versions of some Excel calculations. On the other hand, CELUS Data Hub the data from CELUS Data Hub can be used in AI tools, which will be covered in the next webinar. This has some like entry barriers because you have to know some AI tools, how to handle the data there. And of course, it requires some initial time investment to set up the model. But once you have it, it can be really easily adjusted and refreshed if your data changes or your mindset about some variables or anything changes. You can adjust it really easily and really quickly. And you can enable your coworkers which have not access to CELUS to see the reports, even to make it flexible for them to enable them to adjust it. So these are big advantages. If you want to use the solution for long term, I would go for tools. If I want just one time snapshot, I would use Excel. So, theoretical slide, how to have the best results in reporting. It is important to have a proper data source management. Review the data coverage for the platform and maximize harvesting. I will show you where how to review the data. Check also the data quality. There can be months with no usage or spikes. Check it. It's important to recognize which type of e-resource is paid. If it's a database, if it's a title, if it's a collection of titles, even it can be an item like a multimedia video or something. And then it is important to think about the parameters which become filters in the reporting. It is which date range is relevant for the usage, which is the invoice relevant for. Which metric should be used. Some users prefer historically total item requests, but the best practice is now rather unique item requests, especially for journals. Some users prefer even unique title requests for books, but I will use unique item requests today. And also it is important to think about access type, if it should be controlled or also free to read. It is up to you to decide and set it up in the reporting. And usually preferred is access method regular and exclude the TDM access method, but it's also up to you how you define your relevant usage data. And one important factor is to use the platform filter. This is very important because one title can have usage on multiple platforms, and usually there is the invoice for one platform. So for one invoice, it is relevant to use the data from one platform only, and therefore it is essential to use the platform filter. So now we are at the examples, and we will go through the pricing and already to sell. This is my artificial or costs for a platform which is also artificial. It's called CELUS Nature, and I have fiscal year 2024 and fiscal year 2025. I have some price, and my fiscal year starts in July and ends in June. So fiscal year 2024 ends with June 2024. Then I have also prices for collections of titles. I have collection A, collection B, and then I have even prices for individual titles, which are listed here together with the collections. So every title on my artificial platform is either a collection A or a single title or a collection B. And I have one thing to explain, ISBN. ISBN usually looks like this, but in CELUS we use normalized ISBN, which is ISBN without the hyphens. This is the first difference. But if I had, this is the 13 number ISBN, if I had the older format of 10 digits without, this is prefix, so the 10 digits format is without this prefix, the normalized version would be including the prefix, but also this last number would be different because this is a check number and it's calculated from the previous numbers. So I would have to recalculate this last number if I wanted to get the ISBN normalized. I have a simplified formula here, which would do for me, which does the dehyphenizing or removing the hyphens, and it would add the prefix, but I have still a simplified version and without the recalculation of the last number. But I don't have the 10 digits ISBN, so I didn't really need it. And now to CELUS. This is the initial dashboard of CELUS. This is my organization, Hogwarts Library, and I will go to the platform which I want to analyze today, and this is CELUS Nature. And here on the screen of the platform, I can very well revise the data if it's complete and if there are any things to notice. As I want to focus on my fiscal years, I have set the first month of fiscal year July, and I have chosen the last two closed fiscal years because I will focus on them today. And in this time range, I will revise my data if it's complete. It seems to be okay, complete. And I can select here the report time source, which shows if the data is in counter 5 or counter 5.1. I have the data in counter 5 until December 2024. And from January 2025, I will have data in counter 5.1. If I switch to counter 5.1, I don't have the complete range of data and neither in counter 5. So now I know that I will have to combine these two counter versions to get the complete picture of the usage. I can go directly from here, from the platform, from the charts, to reporting, which makes sense. This is the small arrow button. And like this, I get the reporting for exactly in the setup as the chart was. I have to change it, so I will expand the setup of the report and I will start at the top where I have a report type source only the counter 5 title master report, and I need title report 5.1. So now I have the two reports, but I prefer if I have data in counter 5.1, which is the newer version, I want to have a preference of this data. So I will switch the preference to counter 5.1 and I will leave the merge reports selected because I want to have the data preferably from counter 5.1, and only if it's not available, then there will be the counter 5 report used. And this is done by the merge reports selected. In the rows, it is good if I have only the platform, and here in columns, I will use trend analysis to get the 2 fiscal years, which will begin in July 2023 till June 2024. And the next one will be July 2024 till June 2025. No warning is here, so the periods are matching and it should cover the 2 fiscal years. The platform and organization is already selected, but I have to select the other filters to get the right data. For metric, I will use the unique item requests. For access type, I will use the controlled, and for access method, I will have the regular. I will review the data coverage if I have all my data. I saw them already on the chart screen, but here it is confirmed that the data range is complete. If there wasn't 100%, I would click on this and seek to review and complete the data. This is larger. This is seemingly not complete because I have more than just the CELUS Nature platforms here, but for CELUS Nature, I have nicely covered the whole period. So, to the report, I will run the report, and here I have already the result, which seems to be correct, is correct. This is the correct time range and correct platform. And so I can save the report to use it later. And I can export the report to add the cost per use calculation. Download, open, and here is the report for the whole platform. I can see all the filters, all the setting which I have used in the report, and here is the report itself, and even charts with a comparison of the 2 periods and change. And here I have already the usage, which is great. I need the costs, which I have here. And we'll just copy it. And now I can calculate cost per use and format. And this is already my first result of cost per use. I can even compare the development from year to year I see here that there is slight decrease in the usage and quite a normal and reasonable increase in the prices, which of course leads to a higher increase in cost per use. So this is it for platforms. I will store the report here, close it, get rid of it, and we will proceed to collections. Collections. We have again the platform CELUS nature, fiscal years as in the previous example, but as I already mentioned, we have collection A and collection B and some individual titles. As usual, we have a list of these titles and collections with title identifiers. We have ISSN, EISSN, and ISBN for books, which is great and quite usual. It is sometimes not available, but sellers can work with many identifiers, even DOI or proprietary IDs, and use it in the very useful thing, which is tagging titles. Tagging titles is what we are going to use today to sort which title is collection A, which title is collection B, and find the relevant usage in CELUS. This is a very practical way how to do it even in bulk for a tenth of us and not get stuck with too much manual work. So what we have to do, we have to go back to CELUS, and I have two windows of CELUS. This is my second window, and here to start tagging, I will create a new tag class. Class can be created for titles, for platforms, and for reports, and even for organizations if it is a consortium CELUS. But here I will use the tagging for titles, and I've a CELUS nature tag class for CPU webinar, and who can modify admins, who can add admins, who can see all users of the organization, and who can assign also users. And I will choose this color, create this new tag class, and here it is. It has no tags. It would look like this if it had tags. It has no tags as of now, and I could add a new tag manually and assign the tags to the titles manually. But I hate manual work, so I will use a title list which I have prepared in advance. It looks like this. It is a CSV file, so it opens in Excel in a very simplified version. It just has the titles and columns with the identifiers, and then one more column with tag, because I will use this column to assign tag to the individual titles. And how it's done in CELUS. In CELUS, I will choose to upload the list. I don't want to tag all titles with one tag. I want to get the tag names from the input file. Use the class CELUS nature, which I have created a while ago, and use the source file. From here, and here I have a pre-flight status, how the tagging is proceeding. The state is not finished, it's ready for tagging. So as of now, I haven't yet tagged any titles. Tag class, CELUS natures, that's all right. I can review the source file and I can download an annotated file, which is an information how many titles has found, and even if I copy this URL in a browser, it will display the title in CELUS. And back, the file has 58 rows and all rows have been matched, which is great. All the identifier columns were recognized, which is also great, and the tags were found and identified, which is okay. So I like this pre-flight result and I will assign the tags. And close this dialog. If I go back to the platform, CELUS Nature, and to the titles, now I have the titles nicely tagged with either collection A or collection B, or it is a single title. I can now go back to reporting and change the setup to get the usage for the collections. Now I want to get the usage for the collection A and collection B to match the prices for the collections, which I have here. Okay, so back to reporting here. I have to change the setup to have title database in rows and also in filters. In filters, I will choose the collection A and collection B, and if I run the report now, I will have the individual titles from collection A and collection B, which is doable. Of course, I could sum it up, but in CELUS, I have a possibility to merge the rows by tag, and like this, I will directly get the usage summarized for collection A and collection B, which is, as of now, what I need. Therefore, I will export this file and download it. And again, this is the metadata, summarize the filters and the setting. And here is the report with the usage. I will make some space for costs and CPU And for costs, I have to go to the prices. And I will do the same for collection B. And now the only thing I have to do to calculate cost per use. Format and copy paste. A really simple operation. We can see also the development prices increases as normal. Usage for collection B didn't increase that sharp, so there is even slight increase in cost per use. This is it for collections. And the only thing that is left to do is now to calculate the cost per use for the individual titles. This can be easily done here in the reporting. Now I will not want to merge the row by tags because I will want to see the individual titles, and these will be the nature title. I will run the report, and here is the individual titles for which I have the prices, and I will export and download the report. And now it's a bit tricky how to get the costs for the individual titles. I could do it manually one by one, finding the titles in the price list. But I would like to do it automatically. So I will copy this sheet into the report and I will look up the ISSN or ISBN identifier. I will use an Excel function XLOOKUP, which will guide me nicely through the process, which value I want to look up, the ISSN. And I will want to adjust the shifting by not sideways but downways, so I will do it like this. And now it's guiding me. I have to find the lookup array for the ISSN, which is here. And again, I will not want to have it shifted. And now the return array, which is the price array. But for later, I will want it to shift sideways. Should be like this. And now just if not found, 0. And I want exact match. This is a price, so a $sign short, copy paste and short, check if this is the one. Yeah, that's right. This is correct. And now I can calculate cost per use 24 and in the same way cost per use 25. I can replicate all this to all the journals, and for the book it's similar, only it will be for the ISBN, so it will be slightly shifted, and I would make the X formula in the same way as for the journals. But I think we would waste time and it's already quite late, so I will readily leave the space for questions. Just shortly. Information. The recording of today's session will be emailed to you shortly, as usual, after our webinars. And if you have any questions, you know where to find us. We are always available at ask@celus.net. And if you like the series and want to know more about CPU in CELUS, which is next week, the same time, we will be showing how to build a dynamic CPU model in Power BI with CELUS Data Hub. So this is all from me for today.
Thank you, Kamcha. Okay, now we have a question from Matt. Please elaborate about tagging the institution's title list before uploading to CELUS for reporting. This appears to be a very manual step, and I think some of the chat has partially answered. Would this title list be one that we manually tag with, say the portfolio list on our POs as a reference? If that's a yes, does CELUS remember title tags as uploaded for all future reports? If there is a more automated way to produce a title list with tags, how is this done?
Okay, once you upload a title list and assign tags in CELUS, it's there. You can use it in a reporting numerous indefinite times, and there is even an option to check your already existing uploaded title list each month against your uploaded use and tag new titles if they are harvested into your sales account. So once you tag the titles, they stay tagged. And how the tagging is done, you usually get a list of titles when getting the pricing. It's also available sometimes on the website. If you want to buy a collection, which titles are included. I saw I saw it in many formats, and sometimes you can download it from the platform, as far as I know. But it's good to download the list from the platform with as many identifiers as you can get. It's then usable in CELUS, and you get the best result for tagging.
Is there a way to remove tags in bulk as well?
Yes, I have done it several times now when preparing for the demo. I just erased the whole tag class and it removes all text from the titles as well. And it's also possible to remove the individual tagging instances, and it also removed the text from the titles. So yes, it is possible, and it's easy. It's no problem.
Will you make it possible to input prices directly into CELUS and skip the X or V lookup matching step in Excel?
There is a simplified version for platform level, but the price models are that various and that colorful that to integrate it into a development tool which is designed for speed and usage like CELUS, it would be difficult and inflexible. So we still want to stay with the solutions we already have for CPU, and this is either via reporting, this is the simpler way, or by using CELUS Hub.
Thank you, Camille. Debbie also said that she would love more granular price capability in CELUS. Maybe Christoph or Beda want to add something to what Kamcha said about the CPU in CELUS.
Well, this has been topic we've been struggling with for years, and I'm glad we finally managed to figure it out using the data hub and also what Kamcha was showing with Excel. And well, there is one thing to be mentioned for sure is that cost per use could be also managed or figured out using Consortia Manager. So for those of you who are using Consortia Manager within your consortium, you can use these two tools, CELUS and Consortia Manager, are integrated, and you can do the cost per use. You can see the cost per use in Consortia Manager. CELUS provides the usage to Consortia Manager, and they show the visualization because they have the information about prices and development of costs over years. So you can use this integration. And I know that we would like to do, well, we were hoping to get some more inspiration from you on what the different cost models are and how you process costs. And we did get that. And it again confirmed how complicated and difficult and broad this topic is. And implementing something in-house, like built in, directly in CELUS, is still quite challenging. On the other hand, we would like to evaluate and look back on what we've learned from these webinars and from the exercise Kamila has been doing for past months. Maybe we can figure out something more advanced than what we currently have in CELUS. But on the other hand, it will never satisfy, well, I don't think even 80% of you, because the topic is so broad and so, well, difficult as well. But there are so many variables and so many inputs that it's really very challenging. But I promise we will try to think about it once again. And I hope we might be able to figure something out. But for me, that was our conclusion over the years, that first step is to build really your perfect report, your perfect usage report, and then associate or map the cost to it. That's what Kamila was showing, and that's what she will show in the next webinar. I think that's so far this is for us the best approach we have seen. So I hope I answered the question.
Thank you, Christoph. Okay, I don't see any more questions. Can you say more about what will be in the next week's webinar versus this one, Kami?
Okay, I will not use the reporting in Excel and not use Excel for the next week webinar. I will be using Data Hub and Power BI. And There will be similar examples of cost per use at platform level and collection level, and I will do my best to integrate fiscal year, which is a bit challenging in Power BI, but it will be similar, but with totally other tools.
I think that's clear. Thank you very much. So if you guys have any more questions, send us an email to ask@celus.net, and also you can ask next week, same time at the next webinar. Okay. Thank you, Kamcha. Thank you, Christoph.
Thank you all.
Bye, everyone.